It's the Do Not Scratch Your Eyes post-match phone-in on X or Twitter or whatever it's called these days.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's nights like these when you wonder why you can well bother, to be honest with you. I think what we can all do is get a good night's sleep, and what I'll do is I'll just put out the last game against Sheffield Wednesday, where we thought we were going to be coming up against a side who, having had every problem feasible to any team to have in a single season, would come up against high-flying Watford and be outplayed and outdone and outfought. And then you don't. And then they go a goal up and you go, really? And then you just about resign yourself to the defeat. And then Semedo turns up and does an equaliser. It's exactly the same thing. Who says that lightning doesn't strike twice? Oh, different places, isn't it? Vicarage Road and Hillsborough. As ever, hit request if you want to come on and have your say. But yeah, I think I'll have my say during and alongside everybody, because that was a thing. That was the first thing I am going to say is, again, what I said exactly after the previous time when we played them. Sheffield Wednesday fans, I am so sorry. You deserved better than that. We did not. We were pedestrian. We were, to talk about the other than, yes, okay, the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So there were three chances, weren't there? There was one that hit the post and came away from Kayembe. There was the one from Kieran Guard that the keeper got a last second kind of block with his hand. Very fine, instinctive save. Well done. But after that, we made a team who, and we've been talking to James, and previously before that, Matt, from Wednesday Till I Die. And this club has gone through everything. And I just feel bloody pig sick and sorry for them. We've had 2 points off of them. And we've taken 4 points off of them realistically, because they should have had it more. I'm sorry. I'm absolutely on a complete downer tonight. Absolutely and totally. I thought that was lackluster. And what was even more annoying was the repeat from the previous home game, whereby you saw Sheffield Wednesday, who start with a sort of a bunker mentality, kind of we're going to hunch in and we're going to try and protect what we've got. And you can fully understand that. And then you see them get more and more confident. And by the end, was it Adaramola or Adarabola? My apologies for the mispronunciation either way. Running to the line, making loser look like a piece of cheese and nearly setting up a winner. And to be honest with you, I don't think I'd have been the only Watford fan applauding had they done so. But anyway, enough of such things. Let's get to what you think, and I can lob in with various other bits as we go. Let's get to Paul. Mr. Holly, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Pete.
Hello, mate. I'm annoyed. How are you? Discuss.
I kept huffing and puffing watching it. I think there was some, football's all about moments. Great shot from Kayembe, hits the post.
Yep.
If it goes in, different game.
Yep.
Great opportunity for Kieran Guard, very similar to the Bristol City away one. And this time, I think the goalkeeper made a great save. And I think there was a chance for Kieran Guard before that, which he should have put away. It seemed more difficult to put it where it went past the far post than it did to put it in. And then Chaksavadze, again, trying to score at the near post where he should have put it across the keeper.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had 4 key moments where, you got to be burying at least 1 or 2 of those.
Yeah.
You go 1 or 2-0 up, and then the game probably would be quite comfortable. Then Petris, who started very, very brightly,
Yes,
gets injured. And from that moment onwards, we just lost our way. And the commentators were quite, called it right. There was no urgency. second half. It just looked like we were just playing the game out for the sake of playing the game out, and there's just no leadership, no belief. I'm not sure what's been going on the last 11 days on the training grounds, but you need one or two people in there to raise that team, and there just wasn't really anybody. Well done, Semedo, bailing us out again against the bottom team for a second time. But we've had a pattern here where we've beaten Derby, then we've set up wrong and failed miserably against Ipswich. We've gone and then beaten Bristol City, and tonight just bereft of energy, ideas, leadership, and I just huffed and puffed. And I think a lot of our players are overrated, and I think we've got to have a realization that we have flashes of brilliance from individuals, but we're not really a collective team.
Yeah.
And I think as fans, we look at them with rose-tinted glasses. And to get out of this division, you need, a hardcore inner core, and centre half, centre midfield, centre forward. And don't get me started on Karen Guard. Yeah, he's improved a little bit, but some of his play tonight was embarrassing.
He was very, very fortunate to have made the full 90 minutes. I was surprised he did, but obviously Dumbia being out through his suspension was probably helped him on. But I felt sorry for Vivaldo coming on so late. And in fairness to him, he came on and did what he does, which is he can be an impact sub off of there. So you're absolutely right to call him there. The fullbacks were absolutely a thing, and it was a telling moment because, as you say, Petric was at least trying to get forward. He was kind of he kind of didn't look like he was very happy being at some of the treatment he got when he went forward in the first instance. Went over his shoulder, came out, and I think most people thought Bolaron shift the other three players across, because obviously Mafuni can just sit in there, and then you've got James Abankwah. But at some point, at no point did anybody say to Bola or to Abankwah, "Bomb on, get on at them." They both sat so incredibly deep, and Bola, we know, will naturally bomb on down the wing. Didn't do it. Did not do it until the last knock-ins, and even when he did, it was. Frankly, it was one of Bola's, probably because he wasn't getting into kind of attacking areas, a real stuff of a performance from them. But I think that was the problem. We just didn't have any width. We give the ball into Iran Kunda, who was, I have to say, and we've spoken a lot here about saying, well, pick your attacking players for their attacking options. You got to say it. Grazia had a point. Christ almighty, he does not track back, not once. When the goal went in, somebody tweeted a picture on a group I was on, and he was closer to Bramall Lane than he was Hillsborough. So he's got to do more coming back and not kind of give it out. But both wingers, Chakvadadze and Irakunda, very, very little support in terms of overlaps or any kind of attacking movement. And then you go on to the other side in the second half, and the Adarabola lad was getting forward all the time. Jamal Lowe, a player who basically, if anybody doesn't know Jamal Lowe, he was the one who scored the 2 goals for Swansea when Ben Foster had the GoPro in his goal and kind of waved his finger. He was born about 8 miles behind me in Hemel Hempstead. That would have been, he might have been one to have gone and got, but he's probably always been, I suppose, a League One forward, maybe, kind of pushing it in these stakes. But he was getting forward. The lack of work rate, if you're not playing well, surely the adage is put it in all over the park and work hard, isn't it not?
I agree, Aaron. I mean, that pitch is very big at Hillsborough, and you're right in your observation there. But unfortunately, we've got injuries. Neither Chak or Irankunda are wingers. Both of them should be playing in the 10, or Irankunda off the centre forward. They're not wingers for me. Yeah, they can come off the bench and make an impact when the other fullbacks are tired. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how we solve that one because all our wingers are out injured. But yeah, the only thing I can think is maybe is he overworked them over the last 11 days? Because I kept seeing videos of, the training or what the club were putting on social media, and I'm thinking, well, actually, probably would have been good for them to have a few days off and then train more intensely coming up to the fixture tonight. But I mean, I'm just making assumptions there. But the bottom line is, there's too many in that team don't want it enough. The problem when you have too many loans is they know they're going back to their home club.
Yeah. And
my bigger concern now is, with the season effectively nothing to play for, yes, Ed will come out and say, oh, yeah, we're still only 5 points, blah, blah, blah. But in reality, we've got some tough games coming up: Stoke away, Wrexham home, Leicester home. My concern is, if it just peters out when there's something to play for, if that's what we get, what are we going to get in 2 or 3 games' time when the season's over? It could get pretty horrific.
Well, it could do. I mean, obviously, if this is what you get now, that the 8th place will get you into the playoff, a staunch refusal to go any further than 9th will be what we will be doing straight away, and that's definitely the case. Paul, sir,
and just one final question, Pete.
Yeah, go on, mate.
If the season did peter out, so let's say we got a point Saturday or lost, or Wrexham at home is going to be bloody tough. If the season did peter out, because the players just know that they're going back to their other clubs, or certain players know they're going to get sold, do you think Ed Steele will still be head coach next season?
I would be surprised if he is head coach next season. Not for anything that necessarily he would do, but for the fact that our owner is our owner, and he seems to think that everybody should be able to get somebody into any given point seemingly into the playoffs, and if they can't, they are either jettisoned or I still maintain to this day that Grazia wasn't supported in the way that he was presumably appointed, and the promises that were made. Because as you go through January, you just see him getting increasingly pissed off. Reminders of Cleverly last year. Anybody, you be the judge. So no, I would see him potentially not. I still come back to the fact that he's got as many wins with us in his 5 games as he had in the previous 31 professional games that he'd been in charge. And when people were talking about Will still taking so many games to get wins at Southampton, he can only work with what he's got. As you said earlier on, are the players have we over enthused, or have we overrated them? Maybe. But the other question is are we as a collective almost bipolar? We're either up and at it, or we're kind of just wilt, and or we have that glass chin again, whereby today we didn't concede the goal, but we just kind of went, oh, we thought we'd be up ahead by now. Oh, it's just going to be a matter of time. And what I'll do is allow everybody else to get on and do something, and everybody else will win it for me, won't they? And that it was no more exemplified than when the goal got given away and the loose pass, I think it was from Mendy, and there were 2 players. A bank ball was one. I can't remember who the other one. It might have been Mendy actually, who both went, oh no, we won't go for that, and it just fell between them. Went to a Sheffield Wednesday player, and then they broke up and scored. And it was like, you people in this team and in this squad have to take responsibility, take the initiative, and take it to the opposition. We didn't do that tonight, and the opposition, you saw, grew in confidence, grew in stature, and fucking fair play to them for doing it. Any Sheffield Wednesday fans listen to it. This isn't a time for us to just just pick over our own problems, although we will. But to say, guys, you've had a horrible season, and fair play to you for doing it. But yeah, we will be asking about ourselves. Let's get to Johnny Hornet, who's got a shorter stint to get back to Leeds today, up there in God's own county. Johnny, what did you think of today?
I thought it was bloody awful. I just thought that was a horrific performance. Hear me?
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, it was weird atmosphere at the game. First of all, like Sheffield Wednesday, really good away day, really sound fans, and fair play to all of their fans who were there tonight.
Yeah, quite right.
I really like them as a football club, and I'm gutted they're going down because I really like that away day. I think the atmosphere was a bit strange. It was almost felt like a bit of like a pre-season game until they scored, of course. But So I don't know if that had any kind of impact on the game. But I just felt like we've seen this movie play out quite a few times this season, against these lesser teams where really we should be, going at them, and getting that early goal. And I just felt like the same thing was playing out. I was, to echo the points of the previous caller, I was surprised by, 10 days off and we come up with a performance like that. It was just pretty, to be honest.
Boring. Yeah. Well, no, it was. And as I've just gone past, somebody's point was, toothless and clueless. This is from Snowboy. Hey, Snowboy. Saying being outclassed by a team of, and I know it comes across as disrespectful if it's not, because it's true, part-timers and free agents. We didn't really work the keeper enough. In fairness, I thought he was classy, and we kind of scored because he even still got a block to Semedo's last touch, which kind of guided it around the defender on the line. So we were sort of fortunate there, but not that they, as the description is, they wanted it more, and they wanted it more by a long chalk tonight. And that's the bipolar element. We're very easy to be deflected off a course, aren't we?
Yeah, it was all a bit sloppy and a bit loose, and I think maybe when Patrice went off, that probably helped them a bit. But I think they didn't really have anything to lose. They wanted to get that win. They've already been relegated. But I was just surprised that we played like that. And we ended up actually leaving about 5 minutes. Sorry, can you still hear me?
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, we ended up leaving about 5 minutes before the end. So I'm in the car now with Mike, and then Mark's not been to a game for he's like 5 years. The last he went to, so he goes and sees Farsley near where he lives in Leeds.
Okay. Farsley Athletic.
I think on that performance, he's probably not going to be coming in for another 5 years now.
Everton 0-0 on a Tuesday night when we were relegated.
Yeah.
And then I've gone to see this game and thinking, oh, jeez.
Yeah, so I think he's going to stick with Farsley for the foreseeable.
Oh, that Everton game was a great one. We came up with we've got the ball, we've lost the ball, we'll get it back chant. That's the only thing I can remember about that.
Well, that chant came out tonight. That's how bad it was.
Oh, was it?
That was dear. That was the chant. I think the last time that was when we lost like 5-2 to Man City in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And that chant made another appearance tonight. So it was. I also thought the referee probably wasn't the best ref either. I think he kind of lost control of the game in parts. I feel like that probably didn't help. But I think we were like masters of our own downfall, really. I don't know. Like, who do you think kind of played well, and who do you think played badly?
I don't think anybody had a particularly impressive game. I thought Mafuni tried to do a few things, but I think was overly complicating it on a couple of others. I agree with you. I think the moment we switched fullbacks, we lost all width and all attacking momentum went with that. I thought Mendy, who I've praised to the heights, pun intended, I thought had a very off game today. Kayembe started well, sort of started to go, and I thought Loser would play within himself. He was basically just like, give me the ball and I'll just move it. But there was no quality on his decisive balls, if that makes sense. And then the two out wide, struggled but didn't really do much. And I was surprised that Kieran Gard was still on, or frankly at the start of the second half. Let alone 10 or 15 minutes in, I didn't think he really gave us much. So, but in fairness, he kept him on, and in part was I suppose at least on the pitch when the equaliser went in. But I don't know. Even Bove came on. I thought he looked isolated over on the right a lot.
At least he looked up for it when he came on and seemed to be kind of creating things. I just felt we just didn't really have anything like pace to kind of throw at them. And once they went that goal up, it was. They were just kind of time wasting and sticking all their men behind the ball, and it's just another wasted opportunity, really. Yeah. I think we'll probably lose to Stoke, and I think we'll probably lose to Wrexham at home, and that will be it. And then there'll be a downing of tools, and to your last caller's point is then what?
That.
And it all goes back to the point we discussed a weeks ago. It might have even been a month, Peter. I've lost track of time. But
Yeah.
Why did we get rid of Cleverly? If this was the end point, and I might be wrong, and we might go on a 1999 style, win 7 out of 8, Tranmere style thing, where we go on and win a load of games. But I just don't think that's going to happen.
Well, I think we have a glass chin, but coming back to Paul's question earlier on, and then in line with yours, was he was saying, well, what about Ed for next season? Well, if we go back to the Tom Cleverley kind of debate, Plymouth stuck with him when he had an absolutely horrendous record, and they absolutely did stick with him. And then he's kind of turned it around. But we have to sit and wait and see how that plays out, because none of these things are the final kind of situation or solution. They're constantly ongoing. And therefore, when we lose, certain people might go, well, there you go, I told you we'd lose. And they're not wrong. We did. What can you say? But then when we win, other people think, oh, that's it. It's not a set situation where, what shows us realistically what is going on is that league table. And what the league table shows is that it wouldn't take a huge amount, but it would take a very consistent level of quality of 1 or 2 players coming into that team and making it far more effective and efficient than it currently sits. Because we had the chances and we missed the chances.
I just feel like if we're a serious football club, it comes back to that thing: are we a serious football club? Are we going to be serious contenders for the playoffs? And I was at display. We're not a serious football club, and our season's going to peter out. We should be winning that game. We should be stamping our authority on that game. And yes, there was missed chances, but we just didn't look like a club that was gunning for the playoffs tonight. We just looked like a mid-table team, and I think that's where we're going to end up.
I think you're probably right, Johnny. I think you are probably right. Look, have a good trip back there for both you and Mike there. Thank you very much indeed. To get to Pete Ryan, who was also in the in the stands there. Pete, were you wearing your resplendently yellow jacket today?
No, it was raining, and I was wearing a barber. I think I was just to the right of Johnny, your last caller, and his girl. If he had a girlfriend there. I had my scarf on. That was in my only yellow. I was at the front, close to the inaction, and able to see who was doing what and who wasn't doing what. Where should we start? We should start our season. Aesop's fables, my friend. The parable of the tortoise and the hare. And currently, the Watford hare is asleep behind a tree, thinking it is so fucking good that it can just come out from behind the tree and race the tortoises of Millwall and Ipswich and everyone else that started below us over the line. We were hyped up to hell by the club propaganda and Mr. Hang on a minute. Someone just combed up a lane as I enter the M1.
Oh, hello. Driving problems.
No problem. We'll flow with it. I'm clear. I'm on the M1 now. That's it. I'm just looking to where I can meet up and pass some Luton fans coming home from Doncaster. How did they get on?
I'll have to have a look in a minute. Go on.
Anyway, the tortoise and the hare. It's a worldwide. Everyone knows the story worldwide.
Yep.
We thought that we were so good. We were built up that we were so good. We were told we had all these fantastic players, and consistently. I think from Millwall away, and I think I rang you after Birmingham, even though I wasn't so downcast. But we have underperformed and looked at the table against so many of these teams that were down the bottom when we started to play them, and completely come off the gas and nonchalantly capitulated and kick-started the season of so many clubs. And so what in the world makes us think that Ed Still, after 10 days, turning out, do you remember this about fast-paced, pressing performance?
Oh, yes.
Football, that we were promised. And I was in the meeting and I asked him at the RU place, what are you going to do to change the attitude in this club? Because we get rolled over with aggression. Now, Sheffield Wednesday, bless them, weren't aggressive today. they were robust. Petris burned down on his first attack after Bankworth should have been either booked or possibly sent off for pulling back the last man.
Yeah.
And the ref saw it, and he went to blow for his whistle, and he bottled the decision, tried to play an advantage. We broke. He completely forgot about it, and that was the start of the ref's descent into allowing injuries and fouls and play acting all over the place. So I'm amazed we've ended with 11 men. Anyway, Petris broke down a right, and he was sized out. I mean, we couldn't see the nature of it completely, but after that, he did not want to know. Our French players tonight did not want to know. Even Bowler, when he came on, was a shadow of what he used to be. There were times, Hillsborough, as Paul Holly said, is a massive ground. There were acres and acres and acres in front of Petris. After the first two chances where Edo hit the post and K9 had two chances, golden chances, I thought that he was going to score and didn't. And then there was another one as well. But Petris, he was getting fed the ball, and instead of wanting to go against his man again, against the fullback, and get cleared out or get cleared out by covering midfielder, bottled it and decided, no, I'll just look for the pass inside. And in the end, Loser ended up not giving him the ball and looking for Ian Rinkunda or somebody instead. So it was absolutely, and he got injured trying to foul someone, where if he'd have shown some bollocks, he wouldn't have done. And that was the beginning of the start of the rot tonight. And as I said, as I come up and approach Coach 1, who's had a flyer, I'm coming past you people.
We're live commentating on a race south, but not a race, obviously.
Well, coach. But the point is that the Watford hair, our ego of so many of those players, the ego of the management, the ego of the ownership. All I'll say is, are we still waiting to get going? Do we think we're going to beat the Tortoises to the playoffs?
No.
For me, my point, I don't think we will. I could rip apart a load of the players. We had the Hillsborough crowd asleep for half an hour until we let them get a couple of long throws, and then suddenly they woke up and their players believed. And there was big booing from the away end. You could see that people were cheesed off by half time. I think a lot of people thought that we were going to win this easily. They should have won it easily if they'd have taken their chances in their finishing. And we scored the goal when all of our fast, fancy damn blokes went on the pitch in a game of pinball. The Sheffield Wednesday team is the team that we will have when all of the fancy boys have fucked off. And you know what? As I said at the moment, they can all fuck off immediately. Bove, I thought, was okay. Kayembe tried, bless him. I thought Little Mendy was woeful.
Yeah.
And let down Loser and Kayembe. And Irankunda, he got fouled a couple of times and then went into his shell because it wasn't going his way. To his credit, he didn't explode and give it some back, which I thought he was going to get sent off again. So something's worked there, but he's completely ineffective, as is Dave and his shooting. They were great in the warm-up. They were scoring goals for fun in the warm-up, all of them. And Navizado, who was quick and scoring goals for fun in the warm-up, as predicted, didn't come on because we weren't 4-0 up. And I think that's the only chance he's got of coming on. And that was the only pace we had left on the bench.
Very good. Question, if I may. You mentioned the booing. What was the response at the end? Because obviously it's an away game. We've just managed to get a get out of jail almost free card. In terms of at least getting a point from it. I think most Watford fans would have been red-faced with embarrassment. However, they come over at the end. What was the reaction from the away fans?
The away players, our players, didn't want to come to the away end. You could see it. That most of them collapsed on the pitch with exhaustion, and some of them collapsed. I didn't think had anything to be exhausted about. There were some young. Sorry, I'll rephrase that. There were some people with a maximum age of about 21, 22 who were like clapping at the front for chats. They ain't that strong to throw their shirts up onto the upper tier. The bulk of the 1881 at the back, which I would call the 1881 hardcore fans, were booing like crazy and were really disgruntled. There were shouts. It was pretty ugly with about half hour to go because we could see the writing on the wall. Because we've seen this repeatedly. We've been up and down the country, even to other countries like Wales, and seen them completely underperform and think they're going to be in for an easy time. They cannot cope with robust play and a weak ref. And unfortunately, it's in their own hands. There were big wide open spaces. We had the players to do it. The passing was way off. There were chants of sideways, backwards, and all of that. There was the Gino chant that came out 3 or 4 times, and they were cheesed off and booed at the end. And to be fair, quite rightly, and you could see it in the faces of the players that came over, that they could tell how cheesed off we were. But what do they want to do against Wrexham? When will they ever raise it consistently? Because if Ed still thinks he's going to get 8 wins out of this lot, I don't know how we're going to turn into Real Madrid or Man City with what we've got.
I don't think there is a cat in hell chance of any bit of that. So we will see how we go. But Peter, thank you very much, sir, and safe driving back. Obviously, looking out for all contraflows, Luton fans. By the way, it was Doncaster 1, Luton 1. So at least it wasn't that bad in that respect, because we all know we don't want that, and it does allow me to say, which is the only consolation I've got for today. However, I'm going to go across to Wednesday till I die. Is it James or is it Matt?
It is James.
It's James.
All right.
It's James, everybody. I'm all right, sir. I apologise to you on the post match on the opposition view. Sorry, and I have to do it again. It was a repeat of what went on at Vicarage Road.
Oh, what can we do to beat Watford? Twice, 90th minute. We're winning the game and we come away with a point. Football is a very, very cruel game at times, isn't it? Really.
Well, it's one of those. Let's get this from the opposition point of view. You must have had some pride in the way these lads responded. I mean, after the first 15, 20 minutes, maybe, of us kind of being on top and kind of not taking chances that were there, your lads showed some spirit, some fight, no small amount of quality, and tried to do their very level best to give the Hillsborough faithful something back for this season. That must have given you at least some small modicum of pride today.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's good always sometimes listening to opposition fans when they talking about how they've seen the game pan out and stuff. Yeah. And I think, you're right. Like first 10 or 15 minutes, you obviously hit the post. How that didn't go in, I have no idea. And then there was a fantastic save from Pierce Charles, which again, your striker's probably got a score from where he was. So I don't think keeper knew much about it, to be honest. But I said at half time, like, I was kind of proud how they were performing, but really we should have been behind at the break. If it were 1-0 Watford, I don't think anyone would have kind of complained about that. Really, we had a few half chances, but other than that, we didn't really trouble the Watford goal. But then, the second half, Jerry Yates 3-3. I know he comes from the dark side as far as you're concerned.
He does. He does.
But do you know what? We came into the game, and I had a funny feeling that we would get something out of this one. I don't know why. I don't know why it was, but there's a bit of positivity around with like the takeover and stuff. There was David Storch in the stands. It looks like he's going to be the preferred bidder.
Oh,
and I just felt a little bit positive about things. And I think really a draw is probably a fair result on reflection. If you look at the way the game went, I think we rattled you. To be fair, there were some big tackles going in, and some were a bit suspect. I think Heskey were very lucky to stay on the pitch. To be fair, with that challenge that he did.
That was a bit of a naughty one. But hey, the thing is, you've got. I mean, without wanting to sound condescending, especially bearing in mind for the second half, you've mainly played us off the park, to be quite frank, in comparison to the embarrassment of riches and wage bills correspondingly. You've done really well. If somebody does that, you've got to be prepared to equal it. You've got to be prepared to give it back, and we didn't stand up to that. We didn't
Yeah,
stand
you
up
didn't
to
like it.
any element of it at all. And
That's it. I mean, I thought we rattled you at times. And you didn't like it, and I think
No.
we carried on doing that. You know, I think, like I said, we had a few yellow cards, which is difficult when you are playing on a yellow. But yeah, I mean, McNeil with the chance that he had when it's 1-0.
yeah,
He has to bury that one. I mean, he's tried to knock the skin off it when it's probably easy just to side foot it past the goalkeeper. And at 2-0, it's a totally different game. But you know, we'll let him off. He'd just come off the bench and things and kind of snatched at it, to be honest. But you know what? I think again, it's a draw. We've stopped that run of 13
very much so.
defeats. We're still looking for a win at home, which we haven't had one all season. But no, it was like just a few thoughts on Watford.
Yeah,
I just think throwing yourself on the ground all the time. I don't know about what you feel about it, but when you're 1-0 down, you kind of don't want that. There was a moment at the end where you see the keeper running over to the, I don't know if he's left back or left centre half. He runs over to him like, get up! What you doing? Like, we've got a couple of minutes left. You know, we can get. I don't know. I can't remember if it was 1-0 at the time or not, but yeah, it's just. It's something that we don't do as a football club. We've never done it. The dark arts of football, and in the end, you've managed to rescue a point from the whole situation. But I mean, look,
the thing is, there is a difference between, you know, feeling a contact and going down, and just kind of enthusiastically finding very heavy pockets of gravity and going, oh look, I've collapsed to the floor. For me personally, the taste is for that. We're on the wrong side of that at this moment in time. I really do think we go down way too easy for my liking, but I'm an old fart, as you know. So it would be nice for us to stand up. Yes, if you're in the box and you get a contact, yeah, of course you're going to go down. You're an idiot these days if you don't. However, there's a balance, as with all these things. I don't think we're the right side of it personally, and I think what it leads to is the belly aching when you don't get given that result. And what we end up doing, and you said about, you know, you don't like it, we don't deal with any form of psychological setback, even if, you know, the ref just goes, no, you know, get up, don't be embarrassing. You can see a real large number of our squad head goes. And it's very difficult. Sorry, so you carry on. What were your other thoughts, other than the fact that our goalkeeper decided he was going to punch one-handed a throw-in at one point? I've been talking about him punching all the time rather than catching it, but holy hell, it was a throw.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think, to be fair, I was just shocked that we were leading in a game. It's not happened for quite some time. I mean, the fact that it was 0-0 at half-time was quite alien to us. So, you know, it was just. You know, all in all, I think we had a great performance against Derby at the weekend. Obviously, I know we lost the game, but that's the levels that we're at this moment in time. Look, we've got 10 games left. The nightmare is soon to be over. And you know what? Like I said, a win would have been nice. We just want to get to 0 points. I know it's mental to say that, but we might be starting next season. We're minus 15. We've got it all to do again. And it's tough, Peter, being a Wednesday fan at the moment. But no, thanks for having me on. I will leave you to discuss it long into the night, as you normally do.
There is James from Wednesday Till I Die, a fine podcast, and dare I say, for my money, a fine club. Trying to do absolutely all their best. If a fan club, or if a club is defined by its fan base, fuck me, they've gone through the ringer and they're trying to do their best. And tonight, for me, their team gave them something back. Not sure our team did. Not really. Let's get to Boyd, who's been waiting there a long time. Sorry, guys, I will try and come to everybody. Boyd, sir, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Here he is. I'm sorry, Boyd. I apologise but obviously I needed to go and talk to James from our opposition perspective, because I needed to have somebody with something to smile about throughout today. God, blimey, that wasn't like Bristol City, was it?
That was filth. From top to bottom, there is not one player I would mark more than 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
Not one. Petris, no balls. Loser, either he's checked out because he's changed agencies and he knows he's going, or he's got an injury. Now, if you listen to Ed Still, I only play players that are 100% fit. Well, in that case, he's fucking checked out and didn't try. He was walking. Did we win any tackles? Now, I know they should have had a player sent off, disgusting tackle, and the ref was crap. But that doesn't excuse us. It doesn't excuse us as a club, Pete. We have recruited poorly.
Yep.
Because we have nobody with experience with a leader's head. We clearly have too many players that think they're Billy Big Bollocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And are far from that. Irankunda being the main culprit. And because the recruitment is so poor, we're ending up relying on an 18-year-old called Mama who's injured. Oh, but let's hope Mama comes back quickly. That's how bad it is. That's who we're relying on. No. How many duels did we win? None.
Very,
How
very
many
few.
50s? How many 50-50s? None. How many times did a stray ball in the centre circle, they had a player there, we didn't? Now, in fairness to Pup Mendy, who had a shocker today,
He did.
first bad game, in fairness.
Yeah, absolutely.
However, he was playing in midfield on his own, Pete, because Loser weren't there. What did Loser do? Tell me. I want to know what Loser contributed to that, and I love Loser.
For me, all Loser did, what he did was he basically was constantly available for that continuity player, that continuity pass. Just get the ball and give it to somebody else. Get the ball and give it to someone else. Yeah. The problem is that even with Bove on the pitch, we need more from Loser than that. Correct. We need him to be able to kind of, okay, he doesn't have to unpick the lock every time, but he has to move us in the right directions. And today it was right. Well, we'll get the ball and we'll just keep it. And everybody else just flowed into that. Yeah, we'll just take the easy pass. Now it's great to retain. It's great to retain possession if you're going to move the ball from left to right or back to front and create space or exploit space where it's created where you aren't. But at no point did he try, or did we really do that in the way that he is capable of? And I do absolutely concede that Loser, we talk about, Mendy there saying, it's his first bad game. And I appreciate Loser has, dipped. Undoubtedly he has. But he was superhuman before. He couldn't possibly keep it at that stage. We need others to come also to the party when he does have a dip and raise their game. And we didn't get that tonight.
No, they're not good enough. Yeah. The passing, even Mafuni, who I think will play in the Prem next year, is that good.
Yeah.
Even he caught the bug of not being able to pass the bloody ball. And tell me, Pete, let me ask you.
Go on, then.
What is our style? Tell me the way we play. What is our style? I just want to know.
This what a good question. Today, well, I mean, it's a little bit. It's basically, it's still the same. Try and give it to a player who can do something individually to open them up. There is very little pattern of play or combinations of movements and runs to be able to do it. Today, as I said, with the fullbacks, there was no overlapping. There was no creating an overload in any position. No. And in fairness to, apologies, any Sheffield Wednesday fans, I don't know the names of the your fullbacks today, especially, but they weren't given enough to deal with. Apart from there was the one time when Irankunda got past the lad by the byline, managed to keep it in, and then just ran the ball over the line, which was infuriating because it was the one time when he'd really got through and he thought, "Oh, we're going to have something here." Yeah, so that is frustrating, but it feels all ad hoc. It feels all made up. Correct. What it doesn't feel like is after 11 days. Okay, some days rest and a lot of time working out, okay, when the ball's up, even if it's up, back and through, there were no third man runs going beyond Kieran Guard today.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, it's terrifying. This guy, Ed Steele, has been with us, I don't know, 5 games. I don't even know. Don't care.
Yeah.
And we have no style. Nobody could say how we play. What we do, Pete, is exactly what you said. We've got no ball, so if I've got the ball, I'll give it to you. That's a good pass. I gave it to Pete. The fact that Pete's got 3 people around him is irrelevant, but I gave a good pass. Or I kick it out for a fucking throw on. I mean, it's terrifying, as you say. And do you know, I noticed, I was watching, when we play it across the back, fullback, centre half, fullback, no one in front of that line is moving. They are standing still. So as much as I hate them passing it across the back, what option do they have? Unless they want to hit it long. And Karangard's not the greatest for getting on the shoulder, is he?
No, by no means is he. Definitely not.
So, in fairness to the back four, and I do criticise that nonsense across the back, back, no one moves. So they can't pass between the lines. There is nothing. I mean, it is terrifying. But that's what happens when you recruit to sell, because that's what they've done. They've recruited young people to sell.
Yeah.
And I appreciate they're a business and I understand what they're doing. But for God's sake, buy one leader. We don't have a leader. Yeah. We don't have someone who should be in midfield who leads. And you can see it. You know, how many Aaron Kunda beat his man once, then tried to be clever and go down the byline and ran it out. Jack beat the man a few times, but you know, had one great chance that he did what he always does. It's outside of the foot on the near post.
It was poor all around. There was, I think, as you said, nobody was above 4, as you quite rightly called out there, and it was rudderless from us. But let's get across to Dill, who I think is a Sheffield Wednesday fan. Let's hear from hopefully some people who tonight feel like their team have done them and given them a bit of pride. Is it Dill?
Oh, how are we?
Hello, mate. How you doing?
I'm fucking buzzing, mate. Yeah, fucking amazing. Best team in the league.
But well, yeah. Look, you've had a shocker of a bloody season. You deserve a bit of a bit of enjoyment tonight, and being able to turn around and go, yeah, we were the better team and deserved the 3 points. You didn't just do it at Hillsborough. In fairness, you did it at Vicarage Road, and we did the same thing.
Game.
Sorry, go on, say again.
Do it every game. We win every game this season. I'll be honest. Pozzo win, because I think Wednesday are winning the lot.
Okay, fair enough. Well, look.
Pizza Cup, Cup, FA Cup, well, Champions League. I'll fucking win them all.
Okay. Well, I don't know what Dill's been having, but I imagine the street value is probably significant. But look, enjoy that tonight, Dill. You've had a good day, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Let's get across to another Wednesday fan. Let's get across to Peter Holmes. Let me just add you in, Peter. When it comes up, just hit the microphone button at the bottom left. Peter, that's it. You're there. Peter, how you doing?
I'm all right, mate. How are you?
Oh, well, yeah, we're all right. I mean, we've come away from Hillsborough with more than we absolutely deserved. But let's find out how you're feeling about everything.
I'm delighted with a point for a change. I'm a little bit looking at the whole context of the game. You should have been out of sight in the first 20 minutes, half an hour. I was stood directly behind the guy who hit the post in the first, whatever it was, 10, 15 minutes.
So you were in the cop then, yeah?
No, I was in the stand behind it. So
right, gotcha.
I could see the swerve on the ball, and I said to my young son, I said, that's a hell of a goal, because he's not only has he lobbed the keeper with the volley, and it swerved as well, and then to see it bounce across the net when it's at the post, I was so relieved. But then prior to that, the big lad, the number 9 who plays up top, I don't know his name, sorry.
Yeah, Kieran, yeah.
Yeah, he should have scored certainly once, possibly twice. So you should have been away and gone 3-0, and that would have been typical of our season. That's how we are. And last Saturday at Derby was one of our performances of the season. We've only scored. Put it all in context.
Yeah,
we've never. I was at Vicarage Road when we lost 1-0, and you did us in the last few seconds. But you look at the makeup of all the sides in the Championship, and you can go through the sides. You can pick out the danger men who they are. Like Wrexham have now got. They've got 2 or 3. They've got Windass. They've got Kiefer Moore. I like the lad, little kid who plays in midfield, who came from Forest, O'Brien.
Lewis O'Brien.
Yeah. Coventry have got several, 2 or 3 up front, couple of lads in midfield. Radoni's playing out of his skin.
Yeah.
Middlesbrough's got 2 or 3. Hayden Hackney's far too good for this division, for example. You can go through. But you mentioned earlier about identity.
Yeah.
I don't think Watford have got a grafter. They haven't got a... They haven't, forgive my phrase here, you haven't got a nasty bastard, have you?
No.
And I think if you've got that kind of player, a nasty person, give who can just win it, take a few bookings, maybe get suspended a couple of times a season, but somebody who's putting his mark on the game and can distribute the ball out to, because undoubtedly you've got players with skill, otherwise they wouldn't be playing in the Championship. But I don't think they're actual. I don't think what us oldies call team players. They're in it for themselves. They're in it for the next. They're in it for the next move. Watford, very much like most Championship clubs, is a stepping stone to try and get to the Championship.
Absolutely.
And the one thing I noticed at the start was, and this has not been funny in any kind of way, but
okay.
I looked at the Watford team sheet on the scoreboard, and I'm thinking,
I know where you're going here.
I couldn't pronounce half the bloody names. Well, and I'm thinking to me, this is going to be a nightmare for the guys on Twitter.
Peter, I'll be honest with you, right? We have on our local radio show. It's a former midfield player of ours called Derek Payne. Now he would have trouble pronouncing the words Peter Holmes, right? Imagine how he copes with Chakfatadze, Gogliachidze, and Kierkegaard, who we still don't pronounce correct, and we're doing quite a good job of it. So we think now it's simply a colossal in-joke for his expense. No, you're not wrong. I think the question is, and any Watford fans listening to this will probably be thinking what I am thinking, which is, if Peter Holmes here can be a Sheffield Wednesday fan, watch Watford for 90 minutes and identify that what we need is a big uncompromising shithouse in the midfield, why the fuck can't Gianluca Nani and Gino Pozzo see that? Because we've been calling for that forever and a day. You're absolutely right. It's muck and bullets. It's in the Championship.
Yeah, we used to have everybody in the Championship knows who our star man was. And he left us 3 or 4 weeks ago to Millwall. So now everybody's got the opinion of Sheffield Wednesday. Oh, Barry Bannon used to play for them. It used to be Barry Bannon's. Stop Barry Bannon and you'll stop Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
Now with nobody, literally nobody to stop, and we are really clutching at straws. So tonight is a massive. We've been stuck on -7 for what seems an eternity, and there's no way on God's earth we'll get to 0. We've got Ipswich on Saturday, who had a good result tonight after being 2-0 down. The side are the fans. The fans will still sell out the away allocations, but we know because of what's happened within the club. We're going to make little impact on. Tonight was a complete freak result. As I said earlier, we should have been 3-0 down after 10, 15, 20 minutes. Admittedly, the goal. I've seen the goal back, and the goal was a good. Our goal was a good goal, but I think a lot of it was down. I think you mentioned it yourself, Peter, about the distribution from your lads. They didn't seem to be very much cohesion, and you also said about 5-10 minutes ago that every time the ball broke loose into a gap or wherever it was on the pitch,
you'd have it.
We had it first, and we've not done that all season. Wow. We've sort of shied away from it. Now, whether something's happened in the last, something has happened. We've had relegation confirmed. The shackles are off, and we've got a bit of freedom. But I think with a bit of maybe a couple of sidings, Watford, depending who we can keep hold of next year, Watford will be a danger next year. I've just had a quick glance at the table. You're 5 points outside the playoff. I looked at the fixtures and I'm thinking, your running's not good because you've got some of the big boys to play. You've got some teams who are still fighting for points. I know you've got Leicester to play. You've got Oxford to play. You've got Coventry. Have you got Coventry? You've got Coventry, Sheffield United to play.
Yep.
So I can't see where you're going to get many wins, to be honest. But and it's the draws that kill you, isn't it? You know that.
Well, Watford are one of those teams who we do quite well against the bigger teams. Middlesbrough came to us and we beat them 3-0, and it was relatively speaking comfortable. I mean, in the first half they could have done us as well, but these things happen. But we'll normally perform even if not get results. It's today. And when we did our preview with James from Wednesday Till I Die, and I said, it's a trip hazard for Watford. a team in Sheffield Wednesday's position is a trip hazard. It's something that we know it's there. We know what we need to do to avoid it, and we are simply incapable of doing so, which is which is beyond frustrating. But it's also, I mean, look, you as Sheffield Wednesday fans should be looking at Watford fans and playing the smallest violins in the world after the season that you've been put through. Does it look like the ownership thing? And I appreciate, look, does it look like that's going to get resolved, and you might start on 0 points next season?
No, we're going to be starting minus 15.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, the new ownership, or whatever it sounds like it's going to be the Storch partnership. They're not going to pay the 25p in the pound, so we're going to be minus 15, which is going to be and also nobody can be certain what's happening with the transfer embargo at the minute. We're still under the embargo till January 2027. So having minus 15 and the transfer embargo for another 18 months is gonna kill us. So it's it's a bit soul destroying. I think a lot of us we've accepted it, and me and my lad go home and away every week, and it's what we do. It's what we do as a father and son, and it's accepting it. When it first all happened, it was really difficult to take, extremely frustrating, and the local radio phone-ins were full of it, and this, that, and the other, and we'll bounce back. But then, when reality hits you, and you look at the figures of how many clubs or what is needed to stay up, not get promoted, to stay up, to start on minus 15, and with a very, very depleted squad, then it's almost an impossible task. But it is what it is. It's football. We'll still have we're certainly not a Bury FC, and we'll still have a football team to support in League One next year.
Absolutely.
And it's but anyway, thanks for having me on.
Pete,
good luck to you, whatever happens the rest of this year and next year.
Thank you very much, sir. Lovely stuff. There's Peter there. Let's give Pete one of these. Look at that. Look at that. Very, very good indeed. Well, look, Pete, lovely stuff. Let's get across to a final couple of Watford supporters. Let's get across to Will Manags. I think that's how we're pronouncing that. Will, you there? You there?
How are you, mate?
I'm all right. I think that last chat there with Peter from Sheffield Wednesday was as cathartic as anybody could possibly need on a night like this, where we're feeling sorry for ourselves. There's a club who can feel sorry for themselves.
They'll have every right to feel sorry for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. But enough of them. Let's talk about our mob. How did you see it all?
Well, to start with, excuse my French, but it was shit. Just to get it out of the way.
That's all right. I speak fluent French. You are welcome to join in. No problem.
Yeah, no, that was pretty terrible. I thought Bola had his worst game I've ever seen him play, and he was genuinely abhorrent today. I think that was my big pickup, because Petrus actually wasn't that bad, and he's someone I'm normally not a big fan of.
Yeah.
And then he went off, and it was a big shift.
It was a downshift into, like, we were in third or fourth gear, and no, we just refused to go forward as fullbacks. So we just kind of give the ball to Chak, give the ball to Iran Kunda, and see if they can do something, and then we'll lose it in midfield, and they'll go through us like water.
I kept forgetting Iran Kunda was on the pitch until he then lose the ball and do something stupid.
Well, I'm glad I'm here to remind you, just so that you can have a go at him about the fact.
Yeah, I didn't want him to be on the pitch till he caught the show after a while. The one where he dribbled out of play wound me up. It was his lackluster pass which cost us the goal. He just played it straight to their player. I don't know who he thought he saw, but well,
he played it straight between Mendy and I think it was a Banquet. I could be wrong, but both of them sort of looked at each other as if, well, one of us is going to go for it. You're going to go for it. Are you? Oh no, they've got it and they're attacking. Goal.
But either way, like, I don't blame either of them for not getting it, because it was just a terrible, terrible pass. But that just seemed to sum him up together, really, which is he's either electric to a degree, but still not the best player on the pitch, or the worst player on the pitch. I think the problem with Iran Kunda at this moment in time is that there is little or no other option with the 3 injuries to Vata, to Mama, and to Bar. There's nobody to go, right, you're having one, off you come. So he's kind of having to play through
a dip in form and come out the other side. And he's such a gamer who is decided and defined by those moments that open people up. That when he gets it wrong, and he can get, I've very rarely seen a player who's such a head down merchant who can still get the ball stuck between his own feet.
Oh yeah,
he can just end up having those very, very frustrating games for us,
and
increasingly for him as well. Yeah, go on.
I thought I'll go on the first half because I think the second half we can all agree that just everyone was terrible. Whereas in the first half, I thought there were some positives. I thought Ekra in the second half was all right actually when he came on, but ignoring that, Chatbatazzi actually wasn't as bad as some people are making him out to be, especially in the first half. I mean, he should have had 2 assists, which Kerengard just decided he didn't fancy scoring today, so that was nice of him. As well as being all round terrible, his first touch was off it, his movement was off it, and his finishing was off it, which is the one bit which I actually expect him to be half decent at over the season.
Yeah.
I can safely say I never want to recruit from Denmark again, specifically with tall strikers. I think we can give off on that experiment. We've had Rajovic, who was just a more passionate equivalent of Kerengard, really.
Will, what I like here is that Will is perfectly prepared to malign an entire country's batch of strikers just on the off chance, and I think that's the kind of sweeping judgment and position that we admire people taking. We'll carry on making such sweeping generalisations.
Yeah, I've seen 2 of them now, and I don't want to say any more. So
it's fine.
Yeah, we can call it a day there.
Good.
I think I know people get annoyed about us being a selling club, right? And I'm gonna bring this up here.
Okay.
And we have to be.
Yes, we do.
No club outside of the top 6 in the Premier League can afford to not be a selling club.
Yep.
So that's the only reason why I don't hate that model, is because it's what you have to do to survive nowadays.
But it's about balance.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Would I like one big bulky midfielder like the one who Pompey signed in January?
Ebu Adams.
Ebu Adams, he's just gone on to be their best player.
Absolutely.
Would I love one of them? Yes, but can I see why? Ignoring the manager side of things, because we will get onto that another time. Can I see why we sign who we sign? Yes. So for that reason, I don't hate it. But would I like a bit of balance in the case of just even 1 or 2 positions? Because like the wingers, I like a quick young winger with some bollocks about him, which Mama and Bar, when he's fit and can be bothered, and Vata all have. Iran Kunda less so nowadays, since the free kicks, really. I do like that, and you've got to think about it selectively and by position. Could we do have a big, experienced striker? Yes, we could. Although I actually don't mind the other 2 strikers, apart from Kerengard. But I would like an experienced one. An experienced midfielder who's just willing to scrap people all the game. That'd be nice. And
well, the nice thing, just going back to the strikers, don't worry, the non-Danish variety. Semedo, who I think it's fair to say he's kind of drifting through this season beneath the radar as the third forward who everybody thinks should be going out on loan to play. His goals per minute ratio is phenomenal.
He does occasionally look like he can't kick a ball.
Yes.
He does also battle, because he came on today, he scores, which is the big moment. But I saw a few times where he drifted into positions where he could press, win a high, and then he was just kind of left alone because Kerengard was just stood around looking aimlessly. And I just thought, like, why on earth is this guy not getting given a chance? Because he's actually better in the air, he's quicker, his first touch does need a bit of work, but then again, so does Kerengard, so does Pass, and he's more. I think I'd argue he's more clinical. Like, I'd rather him just arrive in the box because he's willing to get a shot away.
Yeah,
it is sometimes, as I say, he does look like he can't move with a football, but the times where he does actually get his leg to swing in the right way, it does seem to come off. I mean, Dumby is head and shoulders above the rest in my eyes, but I think in terms of who I'd have faith in as a backup, I'd definitely be Semedo over Kerengard.
At this moment in time, having watched Kerengard there, you see what he did in the opening minutes against Bristol City. He got into a good position. We played the ball coherently, and it went in.
Yeah, but
you look at his chances. If one of them goes in, and sometimes it's almost, you hit it almost too well, Whereas actually you miscuff it, it goes in, but you're relieved because you're a forward, and what you need to do as a forward is score, and you've scored, and therefore the pressure comes off, and you can kind of relax and play. However, I think turning to the flip side of that equation, I do like Doumbia. I can't deny it. I think we've got a footballer there.
He gets involved, and I think that's what I care about. And whereas Kerengard does not look bothered. And it does wind me. And yes, you say about the Bristol goal, and he got in similar positions today, but then he's missing them. And I'd back Semedo to score them, or Doumbia to score them, because Doumbia scored the same goal against Derby.
Yeah.
And then you see those two scoring goals and then actually being useful on the pitch elsewhere of that. And you think, what more do they really need to do? Other than be Danish, apparently.
Oh, what a finish to everybody! If you can get a reprise in there, Will, sir, ring in again more often. I like that very much indeed. Will there castigating the whole of Denmark because of principally two players. I would have gone and discussed Alan Nielsen, but I get the feeling that I'm just too old and fat to probably be the only person to remember him. So we will see. Let's try and see if we can get AMH in. Let's see, AMH, WFC. There you go.
Hi, Pete. Sorry, I'm a first-time caller here.
Hello, sir. How are you doing? You're in and good. I know we've been having a bit of trouble trying to get in. So look, first time. What do you want to say?
Sorry, I was just trying to trying to work out how to do the mic. I've been having problems with that.
Don't worry, you're sorted. You're on air, so to speak. What are your thoughts on everything, and how long have you been supporting the Hornets?
Well, I'm 18 now, so probably for about 10 years. So I think my first season was when we got promoted in 2014-15.
So basically, what you earned on the initial years, you've been paying back for ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, I had 5 good years in the Prem, but I don't think we're going back there anytime soon.
It's the footballing equivalent of Jason and his Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat, isn't it? It's the it's the many years of feast and many years of famine. Welcome to famine, everybody. Well, sir, what are your thoughts on everything today and this season as a first-time caller?
Well, I've got a question for you, actually.
Oh, fire away.
What do you think has changed with this squad in comparison to when we got relegated 5 years ago? Like, quality-wise, can you name a player which has actually been improved upon when we got relegated 5 years ago?
No. It's been thoroughly decimated, I think would be the phrase in terms of quality, all the way through it. I mean, the team that came down included Doucouré and Etienne Capoue, and I would argue that even when I was there in the 80s and what have you, I would probably argue that that's the best combination of midfield this club has ever had. And with due respect to Loser, in his absolute pomp, would be working very hard to try to break anywhere into that midfield area. And that was when you had Will Hughes, who was playing as a right side inverted winger because there's no way you could get into the midfield at one point. So no, it's absolutely chalk and cheese. We had players then who would exasperate us, but they would be players like Deulofeu and Roberto Pereira, who frankly these guys cannot hold a candle to technically. The problem is, though, I think in terms of comparison, is we go back to what was said on a number of calls earlier, which is it's about what is our identity? What do the commonality between that team that got relegated and this one is you've got a number of players who are looking for the next move, their next career move, and that's fine. You can work that, but you've got to have a number of people who are just on the conveyor belt and coming through, and a number of people who are going to topple off the end and go to, Doucouré, if you remember, was supposed to be, he got a deal for 50 million to go to Paris Saint-Germain. He was playing that well. And of course, he ends up going for 22 million to Everton because we didn't sell him when we really, really should have done, which should have been at the end of the 2019 season after the FA Cup final, and then gone and bought somebody in. And we might have gone down to 16th or 17th. We could have gone down to 19th and 20th because we did anyway, because we kept them there and didn't give them the contracts that they'd earned or the transfer moves that they had deserved. I still think, though, genuinely, as has been said and observed by a number of the Wednesday fans, is the fact that what we do have is a number of very good technical players. We've got players with pace, we've got players with ability, but they're all a bit broken biscuits. None of them are basically can hold a candle to the players who were in those previous teams. Because on a FIFA card or an EAFC Sport kind of card, they were previously 85s. We're now if we've got a high 60 or somebody in the 70s, it's a surprise. And the reason is they're either injured, or they've got a dodgy temperament, or they're a bit lazy, or it takes a long time to be able to see somebody like, for example, good old Loser come to fruition, because I think he's been outstanding this season. He has dipped, undoubtedly he's dipped, but we had 2 or 3 seasons when he wasn't really anywhere close to how he's shown his potential here. But so yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah,
some similarities, but a lot of differences for sure. How do you see it?
I just see most of these players with good qualities are just being vanity players, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Like Aaron Kunda, for example, he's fast, he's skillful, he's good at dribbling, he's good at free kicks. I mean, we've seen that twice this season, but they don't really have that much else about them. So if they get tackled once, they go down, they don't really get back up and try and fight the player. Yeah. Except Aaron Kunda, but in the wrong fashion.
I agree with you. That's what I mean by broken biscuits. It's there's something that stopped them, because he's gone in, and we all know what he can do. We've seen him hit free kicks, a long time ago now. But you go into Bayern Munich B, they'll have a good look at you. He was there for less than 6 months, and he was offered grasshoppers in Zurich, and then he was sold to us with a buyback option. They know that there's a reason why. And it's an incredibly unforgiving environment to go to somewhere like a big senior squad team. And if he had all of that, we wouldn't have a hope of getting him. So we have to realise, I suppose, in a way that, if he wasn't a little bit wobbly, we wouldn't have him. That being said, it's down to the coach, the club, and the technical team, who spend an awful lot of time seemingly inserting approximately fuck all value into the club in terms of the football coaching and how we're actually positioning everything, because we've gone many years with a technical department, and we've still got the same old problems to turn around and go, right, he's coming in, this is what he's really good at, this is the system that we need to play, and this is the personnel that we need to build around him, so that what he does really well, which you described excellently, he's got pace and he can beat someone, but you build around him, because you know what he doesn't do well, but you try to make sure you're going to give him the ball and work him in the right positions. And you have to do that for each member of your attacking lineup, ideally. What we ended up doing with Grazia, which annoyed some people far earlier than it did me, but they were absolutely on it, was the fact that we ended up selecting the wingers for how well they defended. Well, there's something in that, because you look at it tonight, and he didn't do that at all. But what we also don't do is line up to support him in what he does well. I think there's a lot of work to do all around the place. Sorry, carry on, sir.
No. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. I mean, this game was just crap, to be honest. I mean, I turned it off in the 60th minute. I didn't really care about the goal at the end. It's just deja vu from the last game, to be honest. I don't know why we're so bad against bottom 6 teams. No disrespect to Sheffield Wednesday at all, but it's just so weird with this club. I don't remember any comfortable victories this season against a bottom 6 side. Do you?
Well, let's have let's kind of almost join the circle on this, right?
Yeah.
Which we just mentioned. We've got teams, we've got players who come in and are, they're bought in order to be sold on and moved on constantly. And we perform really well against clubs that possibly they might not mind a move to. That's where you get more discretionary effort from the players, because they're going, well, I want to go and impress a Middlesbrough or a Coventry maybe, because they might be in the Prem and they might come knocking for me, because if I'm Loser, doubtful I'm going to get a move to a top 6 club. So I probably need to go to a club who's going up. And that's not having a knock at Loser, because Loser's had an outstanding season overall, despite his appearances or his somewhat more pedestrian appearances over the last few weeks. But some of them are like that. That's why we maybe do there. what they also have is a smug element, which makes them feel that they're going to turn up and just roll over anybody who's in the bottom three. Well, tonight we nearly had our arse handed to us completely on a plate. Emotionally, I think we still did. So there we go, sir. Sorry, sir. I didn't get your name, sir.
Sorry, it's Archie.
Archie, fantastic
Sorry,
stuff. Go on, far away.
So I've got one more question for you. Sorry.
Go for it.
I know I'm supposed to be the guy speaking, but I'm letting you answer all the questions.
But mine is just an opinion like everybody else. I'd much rather hear what your thoughts are, but I'm more than happy to get in a chat with you with your questions. Right.
Can you actually see any difference in the style of play from, let's say, Bilic, even going back that far, and like Wilder, to the style of play under Garcia and Still? And I mean, we haven't had Still for that long, but who do we have at the beginning of the season? Pezzolano. I generally can't see any difference between how we played then, because it's just ended with the same results. I mean, we're going to finish mid-table this season by the looks of things. So
yeah. I think the issue is around, and I'm sitting there saying, well, I want to have the technical department doing things to, assist the manager. A lot of people would be going, oh my God, please don't do that, because maybe they do. And there is some suggestion that there are commonalities there, because what we've had, and you mentioned Bilic there, Bilic, the same as Ismail. You were told we were told to expect, forward moving football, front foot football. This sounds familiar to everybody, doesn't it? And this is and then they come in and try to play possession football, tip tappy across the back, not going forward and not trusting everybody and falling out with everybody in the training ground, or losing the dressing room, and certainly losing the boardroom kind of trust in that time. So there's certain elements that just feel like a vicious circle going round and around and around. So there's a difference between support and interference in terms of, from technical directors or directors of football. As I've bored others, I shall bore you, Archie, in as much as about now 25 years ago, it would have been 25 years ago. And I was working at a non-league club, and we had a technical director, or a director of football. And he was fantastic, because he joined up the youth and the reserves and the first team, and tried to make sure that there was a conveyor belt and a kind of an assistance for all of the teams in there, but trying to get a movement through and trying to make everything more than the sum of its parts. Fantastic. The number of technical directors that we have gone through who seem to have fallouts with either head coaches, or seemingly with the owner, or I don't know, maybe even Scott Duxbury, the CEO and chairman's probably fallen out at times with probably both ends as well. I don't know. It feels like such a incessantly political environment that well, they're not doing enough, so they're going. They're doing too much, they're doing too well, so they'll sell, so we won't invest in them. At the end of the day, finally, you've got to decide what your identity is and go with it. And I appreciate some people turn around and say, well, no, you shouldn't do that, because you should be morphing to the best, the players that you've got. And I don't disagree with that either. But you look at a team like Ajax in Holland, who are probably still the best European exponent of youth talent ever. They have a way that their first team play, and the whole of the club get in behind the development to feed into that. The head coach comes in, typically 2 or 3 year contract, but everybody else, but they understand how they've got to come in and play, because this is our style, this is our DNA, this is what you need to do. And they recruit a manager to be able to come in and do that. Now, what we seem to do is go from one style of manager to another, and it normally seems to be whether or not they're grumpy or pat on the back, nice person. And we seem to have gone from that a lot. I mean, I don't know if you'll remember Sanino, which was
probably a year before me.
Yeah, but very possibly. But we had Gianfranco Zola, fantastic player, lovely player, had loads of loan players, fused it together because everybody loved him and because he could show them how to take a free kick better than God, basically. We got rid of him. We went to Sanino. Sanino is a registered psychopath, or if he's not, he should be. If you want to hear some stories about that, go and listen to probably part 2 of the 4-part Troy Deeney story we had. Where
I was listening to the first part.
Yeah, listen to part 2. Sanino refuses to feed him on pre-season training, and they end up having a fight. He goes to the local spa, is eating Haribos as he walks back, and Sanino is having a fight with the goalkeeper coach. It's all gold. It's Troy. What do you expect? So we went from him. And we basically go from bad to nice to bad to nice to, I mean, we've had nice, but something went wrong with Grazia. I think we did see a difference with Grazia because all of the people's concerns that he might not play any wingers, let's face it, they bore fruit. It came out. So yes, I can, but I think what we end up seeing is that teams are reflections of the head coach in a way, in part. Tonight there was very little joy. Tonight there was very little industry. Tonight there was very little invention. Tonight everything was made up on the spot. I'm as I've said before, and I said it after the Bristol City game, I'll say it now. I'm not a fan of recruiting Ed Still. Okay, that doesn't mean I don't like the recruit. It means I don't like the recruitment process. I didn't understand why we went down that route. But he's in the hot seat. We'll back him. He's done and said very little wrong, but he's had two pretty much kind of dire performances, which have been Ipswich, which was over tinkering. I think he's probably learned a little bit from that, and then tonight, whereby, but for a lucky drop, it could have been game, set, and soldiers the other way. He can argue that had we taken our chances in the first half, we'd all be looking at this and talking about this as a different game. And he wouldn't be wrong. Goals change games, don't they?
Yeah. Sorry for speaking so long, as I'm pretty sure other people want to
No,
speak.
mate. You're last, and I'm going to do some reviews and let everybody get to sleep. So fire away, mate. Fire away.
Brilliant. How long did it take for? I know it's going back a long way, for Graham Taylor to actually cement a style at Watford, because I'm pretty sure it didn't take. He didn't immediately implement his own style of play.
No, he did pretty much.
Really?
Graham Taylor had two stints. So the first one was he'd already been a coach or a manager. Yeah. Well, no, only for 4 years. When Lincoln appointed him at Lincoln City, he was the youngest manager, I think, in football history at the time, or from when records began and managers became, because he was only 28. He was 32 when he came to Watford. And he was taking a step down. Everybody thought he would go up. West Brom, who were in the first division and a big side at the time, people thought he was probably going to go there. But he came because of Elton, and because also I imagine the money he was paid in relative terms wouldn't have gone awry as well. But he didn't like the fact that when he went to West Brom, the West Brom board all were treating him like, well, he should be, kind of basically kissing the ring. Kind of being far too delighted to be there. And weren't you lucky? He went to Elton and he said to Elton, well, what is it you want to do? And Elton said, I want to go into Europe. How much do you think it'll cost? And he said, well, I don't think you'll get much change from $1 million. And Elton said, yeah, okay, let's do it. And he went, that'll do me. So in his first season, he won the 4th division for the second time, because he won it previously with Lincoln. So he knew how to do it. Now, he had to get through, a few bits and bobs, but he knew what he wanted. And what he wanted was standards. And he basically had a lot of players who had been at the club and not done great things, legends such as Ross Jenkins. Luther Blissett was just literally stepping out of the youth team. So he hadn't been tainted with any of the previous kind of issues and problems, etc. He was everything was in front of him. And indeed it was in front of him. But he basically came in and he took us up the first season. He took us up in second position on his first season in Division 3, as it was called, now League 1. So we were then up in League what's now the Championship, and he kept us up. And then at the start of his third year, he said, I think it's time we moved on. And they did. They got John Barnes, they brought in Nigel Callaghan, and the rest is history, sir. So he did that. Then when he came back to the club, it was a funny thing, because he came in a bit when we were absolutely falling through the trapdoor, and again he got us to turn around and play, and we nearly avoided relegation. Did we really? We threatened it, because we were suddenly beating teams 6-3 and 4-2 and all sorts of silly stuff. He took a year out, and then when he came back in, we were still in Division 3 at that point. Sorry, Tier 3, and he won. We won that, and then we went up in the playoffs. So no, it can be done, but that's the things that legends are made of, and it's very hard, I suppose, for a club to live in the shadow of a legend like that, because it's so easy to hit them over the head with it all the time and time again. But this stuff is important because it's your club and it's your club's history, and therefore it should make you hopefully sort of aspirational in terms of its values and what it means and how it works together. And that's why so many people of my age and above, indeed, look at it and don't feel it's the same club, because there was a feeling that everybody was going in the same direction. Everybody wanted to get there. We did have that with Gino Pozzo when he first came in. I think we forget this, but he came in and he started talking about projects and wanting to get forward. And for the first year, everybody went, wow, amazing. Second season, not so great. Third season, we're up. And then we did have some times in the Premier League, but those Premier League times, everybody thinks it's the land of milk and honey. Well, I'm going to use you here for a shameless plug for when the accounts come out. It wasn't. That's when we built the debt up. That's when the problems began as well. So we need to get an identity of ours and work out quite what everything is. But look, Sir Archie, oh, wrong button. Look at that. Debut call, excellent stuff, sir. Look, come back on. Thanks, come back on, mate, anytime. Whether whether or not you've got questions, or whether or not you want to ask, you kind of have some points to make, feel free to do so. Feel free to do so. Well, look, guys, let's just get to some quick YouTube ones, and I'll do the long forms, and then we will call it a night. But let's get it here. Daniel Ellis said, I'm willing to bet my life savings Gino doesn't own the club at all. Bayat does. Bayat just wouldn't pass the EFL director's test due to his money laundering, so he's not the paper, or he's not the paper owner. Who knows? Who knows? I don't think so, because he's owned it prior to that. But let's face it, in fairness there to Daniel, people might forget the Pozzo family owned it, and then we got told about 3 months after, at one point, that actually it's now owned by Gino. When did that happen? Oh, about 3 months ago. Oh, why did we know this? Oh, because Rafael Riva, the former chairman, forged a bank letter to prove prove the money was available. Oh, okay, that's different. Don't normally get that. That doesn't really tie in with the previous named values that I just discussed earlier on. Brett said, what is our breaking point as fans regarding Pozzo? It's just one far enough. It's just gone far enough, hasn't it? I've had enough watching skillful players wasting possession. I've also had enough of Duxbury, he says. Daniel's back again. He says, Gino is trying to make a Hollywood blockbuster, but only hiring the cast of Hollyoaks. Now, that is very, very, very good. I like that. Anybody who's prepared to work Hollywood and Hollyoaks into the same sentence, very good. OJ, hey OJ, he says, we actually have players who doesn't know how to play attacking football. We don't have players able to aim at our strikers. Through Vicarage Road, hey Vic says, we've got 2 chances of getting to the Hope, a dog's chance and no bloody chance. Nice to have that clarified. Hornet Boy, John Parslow says, honestly, Pete, it's a shit show. I can't watch it anymore as it's simply embarrassing and so rubbish with no signs of improvement. Anyway, enough about DNSYE. Let's talk about the football. Good stuff. Good shot. I like that. Good passing glance. The decline of losers since Millwall at home is also not a good sign, says Watford FC 1881. OJ's back again, says Watford, the super friendly club dealing out points to bottom teams. Let's face it, if we weren't at all surprised, this was expected, and we'll also give away points to Oxford, Leicester and WBA. Mark Schofield says, Sheffield Wednesday wanted it more, closed us down and even looked better going forwards than us. We are so shit. It's unbelievable. How can we only draw twice with a team already relegated? Here's a point about our forward line, and I'm sure you will remember this. There was a point in the second half where we were kind of dropped off, and Sheffield Wednesday were popping the ball across the back. They were 1-0 up. They didn't have to worry about it. And the commentators, if you were watching it on Sky, as I was, turned around and said, Watford have put very little pressure on the ball. And at that moment, literally, their goalkeeper emerged 15 yards outside of his own penalty area and basically was there for a pass to have the ball, just to come up, just to do something. And Kieran Gobb was in the centre circle. He was about 20 yards away, but he wasn't prepared to kind of come out and make a run. Even though the goalkeeper was coming out at the time. The lack of pressing collectively today, that was a real thing, because when they did it, we crumble. Robbo, 1001100, says sack the manager is the next step for Pozzo. Rinse and repeat. Let's prepare for mid-table boring football on this merry-go-round. Daniel's back again. He said, I would rather be a bang average team with our youth players than Udinese buyouts or Udinese B buyout. Oh, nice. And bottling promotion every year. Final one, Watford FC 1881 says, I'm not sure if it's a get-out-of-jail card, Pete. It's more like continuing the hopeless hope card. Yeah, I don't really make you wrong there. I have to say, I really don't. Right, let's get across to some of those. There we go. I'm just moving bits and bobs around. Let's get to let's go to the home bit there. Let's go to there. Let's get the long forms that everybody's been talking about, and then let you all go. 22 of them. Let's see how those go. Right, so Hampshire Hornet says, what did anyone expect when we hired Ed Still? Nothing in his record suggested he would be any good. Utterly outcoached in the second half. A good coach reacts to that, but not Ed. If that is what 11 days of training serves up, I'm utterly terrified. Mark of Watford and England. Let me just turn off that so you can see those if you're reading them. Displays like tonight confirm we are witnessing the dying throes of Pozzo's rule, with ownership seeking to maximise last-ditch profits and secure invested capital, and players, coaches and staff choosing their moments to phone it in as they and their agents look at their next gigs. Oh, that's damning, and I would suggest not beyond possibility. Cohen says our goal was most definitely offside. Either way, if we had vacuum bio still, we would be playing Prem football in a few months. I don't think it was offside because I looked at it because I thought the same, because the player, I think it was Palmer, had gone back onto the goal line, and therefore and the goalkeeper was goal side of Semedo, and the rule is you have to be two players between you and the goal line, including the goalkeeper. So, you know, it's an easy one to make, but I'm pretty sure he was onside. But hey, if I'm wrong, I'll fess up and say you're a good one. Lawrence says some small sample size, but Semedo has the best goals per minute played of our three strikers. Absolutely he does, and it's very impressive, and fair play to him. Ian V says, not sure what we just witnessed. That really was woeful. Worst player then pops up and scores. My eyes will never recover from that. I get what you mean, because I think if we were being kind to Semedo, we would describe him as raw, but he scores goals, and he can still kind of compete for stuff. Will he control it? No. Will he make us a phenomenal amount of money? Well, not unless he scores a lot more, but we'll see what happens. Harry says, like you, pissed off. 11 days off for that. Disgraceful. No plan, no intensity. Didn't deserve anything. Shameful from defence to attack. Immature attitudes. Looking to the floor and gave up after 20 minutes. No mindset from a professional team. Looked like random power league lads, he said. Lawrence Loza says 28 points won against top half teams, 24 against bottom half teams. Mentality problem. Absolutely. Hampshire Hornet says, we'll say it again. K9 has not progressed at all this season. Utterly honking striker. Utterly honking striker is a very good name. I like that. Watford Limerick says, my poem was almost complete. Its aim to make light of defeat. Then Vivaldo was there with a little fanfare, but the feelings are still quite downbeat. Is it just me? Look, let's face it. We have badly drawn Watford. We have Limericks, we have old Watford, we have Watford Gold. There's a lot to still love about this club. It's just a shame that tonight's performance certainly wasn't one of them. Sam Dublin Hornet says the desire and intensity was there at Bristol City. I don't understand how they couldn't recreate this tonight. In my opinion, we are unable to break teams down, and that's been evident against the teams lower in the table this season. Warren Hellis says, all our natural wingers injured. Why are we not giving Amin Nabizada a chance? What was the point in giving him a new contract if we don't even use him when everyone in his position is injured? He can't do any worse than Iran Kunda. No, I don't disagree. I don't disagree. I'd give him a go. Give him a go, because at least you come out with something. At least you come out with something where you go, yes, he'll make it, or no, he won't make it. But you can say to all of the next players, he got a cap, he got a chance, or he got 3 or 4 chances, he got an appearance in that season. We came back and we worked with him, we put him back in again, and you know, you're showing that there is a pathway. The number of times we've heard Scott Duxbury, when he's talked about the academy, say we need to provide them a pathway. Do it then. Ryan Duza says, we look like the team that was bottom of the table in that second half. Spineless, clueless, no team spirit. 11 days on the training field for that. Stat man getting pissed back. Get off back to Belgium, he says. Tony May says, I can't believe I'm going to Stoke to watch a shambles of disinterested Watford team lose badly. Don't forget, we watched them all against Ipswich, and then they did turn up 3 days later at Ashton Gate and put something in. We've got to hope for that. We've got to hope that we see the other side, the flip side of that. I mean, I've used the word bipolar. Apologies if that upsets anybody from a medical standpoint, but you know what we mean. It's one thing or it's the other, and there is no consistency whatsoever. Jay says, no disrespect to Ed, but he doesn't seem like the type of guy to give them a bollocking in the changing room. We need a manager who won't accept anything less than 100%. James Revel, big revs, he says, Storch and Costin turn up and losing streak ends. Coincidence? Can they watch us every week? Well, that's very much a Sheffield Wednesday comment. And guys, well done on tonight's performance. If you are still listening or if you're still watching, you deserved all of the kudos today, and hope that takeover, be it giving you a 15-point deduction or whatever it is, your slow climb back up will begin, because the club is defined by the fans, still not defined by the ownership, especially wankers like Chansiri. Whitworth 1867 says, what do you reckon of the refereeing performance, lads? Was absolutely shocking from a Wednesday view. I was surprised that who was it? The lad, oh crikey, the name will get me, didn't get a red, who slid in. I was surprised about that. I'm just so now accustomed to referees being awful that it's, we only normally kind of complain about them if we win, because otherwise it just sounds like sour grapes from our part. But I will say this, the refereeing in the Championship has fallen off a cliff in terms of quality. It absolutely has. Whitworth, sir, best of luck for the rest of the season. The Watford way, the Hornets way, he says, he just has no idea about the Championship. He has no philosophy, a plan. He didn't take this. We didn't look this bad under Daniels. Mind you, he had his short time to prep for the whole game in Southampton, and he looked like we had a game plan. But Ed, still, he lies every game that we'd played well. I don't think we did. Too many egos in the Watford team, says Foxhill Owl. Yeah, there were. I agree with that. I think you've echoed what our thoughts are. Good luck for the season. Snowboy from Romania says, we were never good enough, though the happy clappers will disagree. How we are avoiding, relegation amazes me. Toothless, clueless, and frightened. As we outclassed by a team of part-timers and free agents. ASA, Targu Mures. We now get to the bit that we all want to know. Now 6th in La Liga 2 in Romania, but in the playoff places. There's 6 playoff places in Romania. We didn't know this. Are you going to change to 8 as well? We seem to be. Go on, Dill lad, says Tom. Yeah, I think he was coming on and having a laugh. Look, guys, thank you very much for sticking with us. It's such a disappointing night in terms of the performance levels from Watford after that first 10 minutes, where, as Peter, when he came on from Sheffield earlier on, said you could have been away, home and hosed. I think by the end of the first half, I think they could have been. Certainly a few minutes into the second half, they certainly could have done. And did well. So congratulations to them. For us, it's got to be about bouncing back. It's got to be about going and doing something at Stoke. Now, we mentioned earlier on Valerian Ismail and oh, my brain's gone. What's his name? Who was our Croat friend? I've forgotten now. When his first game was at Stoke, and we won it 4-0, having not been able to do pretty much anything for ages, and we went and won 4-0. Could we get a repeat of that? Perhaps could we get something turning around? Could the Ginger Mourinho turn it around and actually do something, or will it be another puff of air in the pre-match press conference that sounds all very good but is not replicated coming back out onto the pitch? I don't think he's done an awful lot wrong, but he's had a couple of performances that have fallen off, and what we need to have is some consistency in order to generate some form of momentum. Very difficult with some of those attacking talent that we have not being in the team. But even when they have been in the team, we've still had this bipolar element to us, this lack of consistency all season. So we'll see. We'll see whether or not Ed Still can make the team more than the sum of its parts, or if we will carry on like this. We will see. We will see. Anyway, thank you very much for staying with us. we will see you soon. We're going to be recording the opposition views for the next couple of games tomorrow. So chat to you soon. Night.